let's talk about what's going on with Doctor Who. So the show has been going through a lot of trouble right now, especially publicly with the response to the latest season. British magazine Metro appears to have deleted their X account, I almost called it a Twitter account, after they published this article that was extremely antagonistic towards the fans. Even the writer of the article has since protected her tweets. This is not good for advertising.
Oh, it was a woman? Crazy.
Well, I mean, I think overall, a sign that your franchise might be dead is if the media is shilling in unison for it to force people to like what you've done with it. So the latest season, according to Rotten Tomatoes, gets 97% from critics, 36%
Obviously.
from audience.
Okay, so
that is insane.
This is a point I've been making for a long time, that there are certain things, like on the average, when you go see a movie that doesn't have a political agenda attached to it, the critic score is going to be pretty average compared to the audience score. A lot of times the audience score will be higher because the people going to see the movies already want to go see it, and they like want to talk themselves into liking it. But when it comes to hot button issues, things like Chappelle like specials or Doctor Who or Marvel movies with women, you're going to see a big gap between the two.
Yeah, and I think that the media is just kind of coalescing right now around defending Doctor Who because the fans hate it. And I saw one article from Slate magazine titled "Doctor Who's Newest Villain Might Drive Some Viewers Away." Good riddance.
Good riddance.
Jinx Monsoon, if you haven't heard of Jinx Monsoon, this is a drag queen. Thank you. First Crisis Party, let's go.
Dance! People watching this in the clip later are like, why are they dancing?
Well,
it was so
we'll
fun
explain
to see Kellen freak out with the audio track.
It scared him.
That used to be me.
Get used to it, bro.
So Jinx Monsoon is a drag queen playing the season's villain, Maestro, in Doctor Who. And I had heard of Jinx Monsoon before because I watched RuPaul's Drag Race. But this is the sci-fi show's first trans drag queen star, and she's got no time for the haters. So I looked at this interview they did with Jinx Monsoon. I really don't understand logically
Great name.
how you can be trans and a drag queen, because I think the definition of a drag queen would be a man dressing up as a woman, and we're supposed to still believe that you're a woman who's also dressing up as a woman. I don't know. But here is what Jinx Monsoon had to say. "I'm such a big Russell T Davies fan. We've been friends for years. So here's this drag queen getting in the mind of a prolific writer who writes for a predominantly straight audience who probably don't even realize the person in charge of their favorite sci-fi show is queer. And so this wonderful thing is happening where people from the straight heteronormative world are finding out their favorite things were created by queer people. Queer people have been in entertainment the whole time, but we're just only recently getting to be very loud and vocal about it."
Well, that actually answers the question. It's the getting to be loud and vocal about it part that's ruining it for people. Because
why are you getting backlash?
Yeah.
I can't put it together. It's so complicated. So Jinx Monsoon also responded to the backlash here, saying, "It feels frustrating to constantly have to justify your existence when other people don't have to explain why they are what they are."
Let me actually draw your attention to a reason why this doesn't work now. Okay, so last time we talked about Doctor Who, I mentioned that I was never a huge fan of the show. I was, however, a huge fan of the show Torchwood, which is a spin-off of Doctor Who, which stars Captain Jack Harkness. That show is led by a gay man. And
who's gay as a character too?
No, he's pansexual as a character. He'll have sex with anything. Literally nobody. That's a running theme of the show, is that the character, man, robot, alien, doesn't matter. Sure. Girl, it's fine. Okay. And the actor, John Barrowman, is gay and pretty openly, out gay, and that's his thing. But it never felt like it was the entirety of his identity, nor was it a major focus of the marketing of the show, because when the show was made, I believe it was 2006, but somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. It's in that range there, right? And that show is actually very, very hyper progressive when it comes to talk and discussion of sexuality. But at that time, the landscape of the world was different. The LGBTQ plus lobby was very, very different, and their power within entertainment and culture was very, very different. So people looked at it through a different lens than they look at now. They are ignoring all of the damage that is done by hyper focusing on sexuality and making it everything about your marketing, everything about your social agenda.
Well, here's the truth. Whenever they do coverage like this and they incite the audience to give them backlash, it's about revenge of the nerds. It's about getting back at the people who stuffed you in lockers back in school. And it tells everything in this part of the interview with the drag queen. They described Jinx Monsoon as becoming straight famous, where your whole audience used to be gay, but now you're famous with straight people too. And here's what he said. That's something my head is still trying to wrap itself around. I have straight high school student fans, straight male fans. That's crazy to me because I remember the straight boys in high school being effing bullies. And now, 20 years later, a queer trans person can be straight famous. It's really surreal and beautiful. So you still think of straight white males as the people who bullied you in high school, and you're wondering why they're kind of catching on to the animosity and throwing it back at you. We got a $20 from Pat the Plumber. He said, Marty going full Catholic schoolgirl today. Is Corey being inappropriate? I hope so. Hi, Bert and Daniel.
I liked bread and margarine. That was my favorite of the mispronounced names.
I'm gonna make a formal declaration right now. Actually, two. Number one, I officially declare Mondays for the boys.
Okay, I'm down.
They're for the boys. That's my first declaration. The second one.
I'll let you have.
This,
thank you. That.
This also.
Wait.
Oh,
second declaration. We are bringing back White Boy Summer.
Okay, we got to call up Chet. See what he's doing.
We're bringing it back.
But then I saw also the Metro piece, the one that made them delete their Twitter account, is titled, Sorry Straight White Men, Doctor Who was never made just for you.
Cool.
I don't think any straight white male fan of Doctor Who ever thought that this show was specifically made for them. They only expected to not be vilified by the people creating the show.
Is this show still hella famous?
It still doesn't.
Not as famous as it used to be.
Not as famous as it used to be. But okay, so that brings us to what's going on with the lead of the show, Shudigatwa.
Yeah, Ncuti Gatwa is very proud of being the first gay black person to play the Doctor, and it's exhausting.
The problem is both he and the people who are marketing the show aren't doing them any favors because they're making all of his promotional material about those things rather than, what did you like about portraying the character? Talk about something that didn't have to do with sexuality or race.
Is the Doctor an alien?
Yes.
So why would... I don't get.
So why would we care?
How does the binary of the whatever of sexuality?
And if he regenerated as a white male for about a century, why would he suddenly change his mind and become a woman and then become a gay black man? I don't know.
But he's neither. So he's not.
Choose to appear
not gay
that
or straight.
way. Whatever. Yeah, but Ncuti Gatwa's message to the naysayers is simple. Quote, don't watch, turn off the TV, go and touch grass, please.
Yes. And this was the same thing that was echoed by David Tennant as well. I don't think you address it at all. Like that's a problem. The idea here is like you let the people who don't like it continue to speak and you address the things that you like about the show. You should be addressing things beyond just the sexuality and the race of the character. You should be talking about the story elements. You should be talking about what your favorite episode was.
We should talk about the Doctor's chocolateness.
Yes.
We should talk about the chocolateness that is...
Here, you can watch.
So
I think that there will be no way to not. You have to address race. I think like the Doctor has been... this is the first time the Doctor has been black for this long, and he tends to spend most of his time on Earth. It's a favorite of his. And so, yeah, it would be essential to explore race within his tenure. It's something that I would want to do, and like...
Explore?
I don't think you could ignore it. You can't ignore my chocolateness, so we're not going to ignore that.
You can't ignore my chocolateness.
Do you remember when I said,
Bro!
This is only possible because of hate watching, by the way. This
I disagree.
insufferable marketing tactic is only possible because it's lowest common denominator rage bait. If you stop hate watching just to review it negatively on Rotten Tomatoes, no, this would happen. Hate watching is the number one
I don't think that
crime
makes up.
in America and the world.
Hate watching does not make up a large section of the audience. Only
It
people
does.
that no, it doesn't. Only people that monetize hate watching do that. Everybody else either just doesn't watch or they're ambivalent to the subject.
Think about all
you
of
think
the
there's no market
overgrown-
data on this not working?
I don't believe that hate watching is the number one reason that these shows can. I think it's ambivalence watching more than anything. The amount who hate watches something if they're not actually going to monetize it.
Dude, so many people.
That's so weird.
I mean, I guess I've done it on a few occasions, but most
You-
of the time if
you
we're
know how
hate
many-
watching something, it's for us.
You know how many podcasts
review
do
it.
the whole like this stuff sucks.
Yeah.
Don't watch
not,
it.
Not
No,
the
exactly.
millions it
People-
takes. Not the millions it takes to actually make
Yes,
something
Brett,
profitable.
yes, because
there's
it's not
millions
only
of podcasts
this.
doing this.
Yeah, there's millions of podcasts doing this, and their audience, let's say, if 5%, 10%
Fight,
does it,
fight.
and they watch it, it's enough.
We got
Most
a
of the people
$20
don't do that, though.
from
Most of the people that do that say, "I'm not watching it. I watch your reviews, so I don't have to."
we got a $20 super chat from Crispy Like Transport LLC. The Doctor had a family before they changed the original canon.
And okay, so
No, but what I said is like 5 to 10% of them do, not the majority. At 5 to 10% here, 5 to 10% there, 5 to 10% here, it adds up.
And when it comes
It
back
does.
to what he's saying here, do you remember when I said that, like, look, if they were to make James Bond black, I would be fine with that, understanding that most people wouldn't, as long as they do not address the fact that he looks different. That's the point.
I think that they're trying to make you notice it and think that you're weird for noticing it. So I'm just done with the whole thing. Stop race swapping everybody entirely, regardless of your stated or withheld intentions.
I think that shows like this that have been on this long, now this has a very, very large fandom that's vocal online. But the reason why the super ultra like woke shows, again, I hate that word, on network television survive, it's because boomers just watch it and don't have one opinion, one way or the other about the progressive politics that are in them.
I think specifically with Doctor Who, the reason why it can stay afloat while so clearly crashing and burning like this is because of the overgrown Tumblr adults, the people who are about my age who like grew up on Tumblr reading fan fiction and they were obsessed with Doctor Who and a lot of these different fantasy and sci-fi shows. They are still like, some of them are still tuned in.
Wait, Brett has extended the olive branch of blaming boomers, and I'll take it.
If there's a way to blame boomers, Dane will take it.
I can
But
see.
I mean, it's just undeniable that Doctor Who is dying because, because of all this controversy that they have started by themselves. This hashtag RIP Doctor Who started trending as well, and now the media is blaming bad weather.
I saw that. That was
for
amazing.
low ratings.
I freaking okay.
Or no. The media is blaming good weather for
yes.
bad
I was
ratings
like-
on Doctor Who, saying the streaming first strategy for Doctor Who coupled with good weather causes linear ratings to fall. 2.6 million and 2.4
So
million
it was
watched
climate change.
Space Babies and The Devil's Court on BBC One last night.
Doesn't include the iPlayer figures. What I love about this is like WWE used to do this same thing whenever like football season starts. Like the point is like football does eat up some of their audience, but if you really wanted to not have football eat up so much of your audience, maybe make a better product so that football becomes the
Secondary.
more easy to miss product, but they don't. And the same thing could be said, like, look, the 4th of July numbers for the show, for instance, are always down because people are out of town traveling for, to go visit family, or they're spending it cookout, vacation, anything. They will blame the weather anytime.
Add that to the
Yep.
coping bingo card. That's a free space.
There's another 21.
Crispy Like Transport LLC said, I've been a Doctor Who fan since 1980. I discovered it on PBS at the age of 5. Well, how do you feel? Are you going to hate watch this?
Look,
Let us know. We are our sample size of 1.
I think that the bigger what was the number? It was like 2.6 million. I think 2.6 million people watched it without having strong opinions one way or the other. I don't buy that there is a large subsect of the audience that watches it because they hate it. I think that people who monetize it do it, and then people watch their YouTube channels.
Why then is this a recurring marketing tactic, in your opinion?
Because the YouTubers make it easy marketing.
The marketing tactic of outrage.
Yes,
that's what he's talking
so
about.
it's the same thing with Disney and their Star Wars shows, which do repeatedly low numbers. Despite the fact, why would you continue to produce them? Because YouTubers
there's
have found
a symbiotic relationship.
Yes, absolutely.
So no such thing as bad press.
Okay,
is what you're saying.
I'm just saying that the people who aren't monetizing it aren't watching it. Like the people who hate it but aren't monetizing it aren't watching it.
I only think it's a symbiotic relationship because people like Ncuti Gatwa thrive off of attention and don't have an interest in the show making money.
I'm sorry.
Because they've already got the guy who's playing the doctor.
What's his name?
Ncuti Gatwa. And he thrives on attention. He's already gotten his paycheck for the show. He has no interest in the show actually being successful. And then, yes.
Also, the whole point about Russell T Davies makes no sense because everybody had the exact same problems with Jodie Whittaker as the doctor, and that was done by Chris Chibnall, who is a long time, who also did Torchwood.
They fell off with Peter Capaldi. Okay, it was not, the problem was bad writing, and then they realized that less people were watching. They were like, oh, let's fall back on girl boss protagonists. Like that, they already fell off before Jodie Whittaker. And, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's time to put an IP to rest at a certain point. This is one of the oldest ones.
Yep, it's been around for a long time.
It's time to give it up.
We'll have to wait and
Stop
see what
beating
comes.
a dead
Look,
horse.
we don't cover Doctor Who on the regular. I have a hard time wanting to cover something that I don't feel strongly for. If they brought Torchwood back, I might be interested in watching that, but I don't think that they would do that. Also, if I remember correctly, John Barrowman got like quasi Me Too'd because he would just like walk around. He would like flash people on set, and then they're basically just like,
They Russell Branded him.
Yeah, I know. He admitted to it. He admitted that he did it and basically said
okay.
you're making a big deal out of nothing. It happened years ago. It was a long time ago. He was also very great as Malcolm Merlin on.
Well, I have a hard time believing that Russell T Davies he was gay all this time, but only recently started being annoying about it. What's wrong with you?
So continue to all you have to do is go back and make the media like you did before the progressive politics became front and center. You can include them in. There's plenty of examples in Doctor Who, in Torchwood, and everything in this world of progressive ideals. The point was the story came first. I get so frustrated having to say this every time because it's like we're repeating the same thing 100 times over. It's not that difficult, but apparently it is.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.